Yo, you're just in time for this week's weekly recap. This is a series where I go over the week's previous series, giving you a summary of what we've accomplished. I give you some of my personal answers to the questions of the day, and then I tell you a bit about where I think we're going to be going with our series. This week's weekly recap, however, will be swapping that middle segment out and doing a little bit of shuffling around with the format, because this is going to be a very channel-centric weekly recap, because today is going to be more or less considered from this point forward the channel's birthday.
Hooray!
With all of that out of the way anyway, thanks for watching and let's get on with the show. In Pokemon Coliseum, we spent our second week working our way through Ein's Shadow Pokemon Lab. Towards the end of the week, we did manage to reach Ein, and with a little bit of extra training, we managed to defeat his team and capture his Shadow Raikou. As for the next week, right after we defeated him, we found some Cypher's information on a disc that we're going to be taking back to the Under and the Kids Network so that we can see if they can help us find out what Cypher's next plan is so that we can intercept them. In Golden Sun this week, we finally made our way through the last portion of the cave in Alton Peak, and then made our way through the harsh desert of Lamacan Desert. Once we arrived on the other side of the pass, now we're realizing that we are on the south side of the area that we had first entered into when we left Vale that previously had a broken bridge. Going into the next week, I think that we will be able to cross the now fixed bridge to go up and finish up some of the loose ends, specifically regarding Ivan's master who was captured by outlaws. So I'm expecting that within a week, roughly, we should be able to finish off that storyline and rescue him from the criminals. Where are we now? Well, for this next segment, I figured I would go ahead and walk us through a little bit of the history of where this channel's been, give you a little bit of a background sneak peek into what some of these aspects of the YouTube system look like for a creator. So, as you can see, technically, so this one's not actually technically. Technically, the oldest video I uploaded would have been ACR Episode 1. Which is missing because I had to delete it, because if memory serves, well no, I definitely remember that it got copyright stricken for, I remember it got copyright stricken and it was for music of some sort. The thing I don't remember is what part of the clip had any. Because I'm pretty sure that I had the, I'm pretty sure I skipped the intro even in the original episode, because I kind of figured that that sort of thing would tick whatever box automatically recognizes copyright content. But anyway, you'll also notice episode 5 here is missing because it also had a similar issue with some sound file or another getting pinged and recognized as, oh, you need to take this down, this is copyright. So I did, and as you can see, going from basically the end of March and basically starting in April, we went and published several episodes before... Here we are. Nope, I thought there was one. Where are 1 and 5? Here they are. So, not until May. Which, if memory serves, I did that pretty much the day that the strikes arrived. I don't remember if I actually... I know I took them down immediately. I don't remember if I actually got my edits up the same day, but that's just how long sometimes, basically 2 months, basically 1 month, that sometimes you have a video up, looks fine, you go quite a while, and then suddenly out of kind of nowhere, hey, this 10-second long clip of music in the background is copyrighted, take it down or we're taking it for you. But anyway, as you can see, we continued plugging along with ACR until... Oh, no wait, actually, the moment that I'm thinking of as the first real defining feature... Alright, so as you can see, somewhere here in June then, we finally ended ACR and moved over to Sonic Adventure DX, and as you can tell from all the thumbnails here, this was still so early on the channel that I don't remember what the bar was that I had to get over in order to be allowed to make my own thumbnails, but clearly it took us until after at least the first 2 series that I put on the channel in order to unlock that. So for all this time, I still did. They give you 3 options that just clips or scenes from stills, really, that they take from the episode that you shot. And so I just picked, of the 3 that they provided me, each of these is like, okay, I mean, sure, we'll go with that picture. Thumbnails are really important, guys. Let's see. But I believe it was somewhere here. July, still going pretty steady. Ah, yeah. Here we are. 24th, double 23rd. Alright, so it was shortly thereafter when I finished Sonic Adventure. It looks like that somewhere after Sonic was where I finally gained access to being it. Well, actually, probably hit somewhere during it, but in order to keep continuity, I just went ahead and finished out that series using clips. And starting right here on the 22nd of July of last year, I did the only period of time on this channel where you will see double uploads, because wow, was that tiring and problematic. And it caused bigger problems than just the day-to-day. That is what I'm really building towards, that you'll see in a moment with our dates here. So I did manage to, for a little bit, keep that going. Looks like 26th. Scroll down a bit, see if it's broken yet. Nope, still. On August the 1st, we were still doing double uploads. Ah, looks like here in August is where I finally said, alright, we're just gonna cut that nonsense right out, and started going to alternating. 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so this is where we started the way that I currently do things, where every other day is a different series. And the main reason that I did switch to this, after having done an entire series just straight of Sonic and of Assassin's Creed, was because during those times when I was just doing a single series, and as you'll notice happens after this, if you don't like the current series I'm doing, if I'm doing 2 at a time, then you'll at least in a week get a couple videos from my channel that you like. When I have content droughts, then we have issues. And if you watched this episode, which according to this only 3 people did, so let me fill you in, this was not me finishing the game. This was me hitting a point where I couldn't, it wasn't even that I couldn't beat the level, it was that my computer stopped being able to run the game. Really weirdly, because we've been doing, not great, but okay with, in terms of like frame rate and whatnot, but all of a sudden I got to a level where the game just was not running, so I went ahead and just pulled the plug on that series without having a replacement in mind. All that continuing to build up as we move toward the end of August, and you see there was just a gigantic chunk of time where I was just doing Kingdoms and Castles. And so eventually I cut that off, because with Kingdoms and Castles being the kind of game that you can kind of go as long as you want, I had to pick my own time to say, alright, we're calling this map quit, and we will come back to it, as I point out there, next time. At which point we have 5 episodes, and oh, what is that? August 30th, November 1st. Last I checked, November doesn't come right after August. So, yeah, this 5th episode being the last one of Dragon Age Origins, which if you have any idea about that game, yeah, no, you're not finishing that in 5 episodes unless you set out to, like, only do 5 episodes. That is a long game. No. If memory serves, I think right about toward the end of August there, I got a cold or something that probably really should only have taken me out for a couple of days, a week at most, because with my sinus issues, whenever I get a cold, that tends to also take out my voice, which would have been problematic doing, like, mute Let's Plays. Idea, though. I don't know how that would be entertaining, but I could maybe try to find a way. And so, after all the trouble that I had been seeing with these last couple series, yeah, the reason there's a 2-month break there, which, as of right now, is still the largest break I've ever taken, I kind of got burnt out. Things had just really not been going super well. Honestly, even in the background of that Dragon Age Origins Let's Play was not going super great in the background, with trying to figure out because a large part of that game is the options that you can take, and so trying to figure out what set of options I wanted to have in the Let's Play was starting to be a little bit problematic, and so I basically used that brief illness as an excuse to just sort of take a break. And initially, as could be assumed, I really only intended on, being like, a week away, 2 weeks away, okay, maybe, one more day, maybe a little bit more time, and oh, look at that! It's almost been 2 months since I posted anything. So, yeah, unfortunately that's a pattern we will not necessarily see the last of here. So, we came back roaring with, I was particularly happy with this Let's Play of Assassin's Creed Chronicles. And the reviews were not horrendous. I particularly like that I was able to take the particular package that I got this from what is Ubisoft's launcher? Got it right down in my toolbar. Uplay, there it is. So, from Uplay, I was able to... I think I got it from Uplay. I might have gotten it from Steam. I'll be honest, I'm not always certain where I actually got a lot of these games. It usually is Steam, though. And I got a lot of these as wallpapers with it, so I was really excited for that series to use those wallpapers they gave me in the thumbnails, which I thought was cool. And it was definitely a really interesting take on Assassin's Creed, considering all the other games are, fully three-dimensional, whereas that one was sort of, 2.5 dimensions, to where it was like 3D models and whatnot, but you're still only moving in a two-dimensional plane. So, that was definitely a series that helped rejuvenate, although there's clearly another break of about, let's see, what is that, like, no, that's about a week. Okay, so yeah, there'll be several little weeks I'll skip over. We came back and started actually going back to the system of doing one episode of one on one day, one episode of another series on another day, which, if memory serves, will lead us all the way through December. Yep. Funny little story about this Christmas time. My brothers arrived to spend the holiday with us, I think Christmas Eve. And I was supposed to, that day, have shot, like, the final 5 or so episodes of Shantae earlier before they arrived. And I didn't, because I procrastinated. So while they were in the living room talking with my parents and visiting, I was in here trying to finish off the last 5 episodes. So, if you go back and watch those, you might notice that my responses are a little muted, because I knew they were over there and trying to talk. But wow, that's definitely way more than 5 additional episodes. So it must have not have been the final set, but it was definitely like 5 episodes in a series that I was trying to just bang out so that I could give myself Christmas Day off. Although, when you're working that late on Christmas Eve, have you really given yourself Christmas off? But anyhow, once Shantae ended, I once again ended up with a bit of a content drought of pretty much just Kingdoms and Castles, but eventually KOA Reckoning came to the rescue. I think that I was actually planning KOA Reckoning to join a lot earlier. I didn't have it in mind immediately, but I think there were some technical issues I was having with, like, getting the resolution to a certain degree to where it would run a little better, and if I remember correctly, even in the first couple episodes, I had to do a little bit of further tweaking and eventually lower the graphics settings a little just to try to make sure it could run. Well, okay, not run, but run without loads of stuttering, which I think was happening quite a bit in the first little bit, or in the first couple episodes. So that continues for a while until we cut out our last... Yeah, I think I've only done 2 series on Kingdoms and Castles, which ended on episode 69. Nice. But then we see a little failed project called my Let's Ask series that I think overall has only about like 5 episodes. 3 of them were on Warcraft 4. No, that would be 3 and 4 is 7. Way off. Anyway, it was a short-lived series that was supposed to sort of do a little bit of a lore, not really deep dive, just sort of a lore overview, and I ended up cutting that series because, as you can see, the first one got 11 views. But not too long after, well, no, actually, I only got 31 views. But then 9. But then 5. What is the next one? Oh, I guess it's not going to show up to my next page. Anyhow, you can start to see how there started to be a decline, and so because that was, oh goodness, yeah, that one, 2. So, yeah, I was starting to get the feeling that, okay, yeah, this isn't going to really do anything for the channel, really, and in doing about 7 or so of them, I had started to get a feel for what that kind of more edited video would be like, at least in terms of knowing that I didn't want to mainly do that sort of thing, or certainly on a week-by-week basis. That was going to require a lot of effort, because as you noticed throughout that whole time, it's not like I was supplanting the other content. We were still doing one every other day of everything else. So I ended up basically calling that one quits, because at the end of the day, I wasn't really ever planning on taking the channel in that direction. I was mostly just wanting to experiment with how that kind of editing worked. And you're seeing the benefits of that now in my most recent series, the Weekly Recap, as this isn't sort of a spiritual successor, but doing that sort of experiment was how I learned what I was going to sort of do with this, even though this is totally this isn't lore-based, this is just a weekly recap with some blog elements, so anyway. Then we approach the end of May, or rather March, and yeah, there's another noteworthy, about a month gap. Now I wonder, what happened in March of 2020 that could possibly have given me an excuse for about a 1-month hiatus? Yeah, so actually, no, it was not specifically due to anything COVID-related. I got a cold. And once again, probably should have only been out for a few days, a week at most. But because of what was all going on, I went ahead and let that 1 week turn into 2. 2 weeks turned into 3. You see where this is going? I did, fortunately, this time not let it go on for 2 whole months. So, only 1 whole month, pretty much, before we came back and finished off these couple series. And if memory serves, I don't think that we have more than about a week or so taken off at any point between here and there. Okay, there may have been like one segment where there was a 2-week gap. Okay. But, as you can see, we just kept on plugging along with those two, and then this time, when KOA ended, I was ready and on the ball, and had very quickly out, the very next time it needed to be out, another 999 episode from the new series, ready to go. And I believe the same thing happened with Minish Cap, switching over, here we are. Oh no, I ended up right. So, yeah, I ended up ending those. That was just, like, absolutely serendipitous, because, well, okay, to be fair, this isn't actually the end of 999. If we scroll down just a touch, you'll see that after this, like, 4-episode run of Helltaker, because that was a bit of a short game, we come right back, and I changed the thumbnail, because the way that that game worked with its multiple branching paths, I kept that first thumbnail just for the first solitary playthrough of just, alright, we're reading everything, we're getting right through, and we get whatever our first ending is. So, technically I could have cut that anywhere I wanted, which is part of why it helped that it ended up being able to cut off both of them right about the same time, so that I did just a really short run of Helltaker before getting Pokemon Coliseum up and running, which is a currently running series, obviously. While 999 came back to do several episodes, I think still probably about half, if not most, of the series is actually the second half of just going back and then doing the other routes, getting the last couple of unlocks, and then getting the last couple of endings. Which, even though we were still skipping a lot of the old reading, still ended up taking a pretty significant amount of time. As you can see, the episodes just keep on coming and coming, until finally we had our last episode, beginning of August. We did our little recap of the fact that I had forgotten one of the guild things that was actually in Issa that I really should have tacked on to the end of the actual Reckoning playthrough. As it stands, here we are with the loose ends. At the end of that, I made mention of, put in the comments which area you wanted to go to. So we're going to be going wherever I want at this point. When we do eventually go back to doing Reckoning. And while I realize that since August 10th, something has happened with Reckoning since then, and they've released a remaster, but as I mentioned already, I'm having trouble with my current laptop running regular Reckoning, so I am thinking maybe I'll try it to see if maybe it's optimized better and therefore runs better, but I kind of doubt it, so odds are very high that when we do get back to Reckoning, it will be regular. But, as you can see, just after that, here at the beginning of August, well, actually middle of August, basically, we continued with Coliseum and started Golden Sun, which I believe, yep, got us straight here to September the, whoop, nope, I skipped, here we are, to August 30th, where we began the current series you are watching, which zips us basically along all the way up to our most recent, and because I am currently shooting this episode, clearly the final episode, this current episode, is not up, but so all of that history leaves us with a bit of an obvious set of lessons learned. Clearly, whenever I get sick, I really need to make sure that I don't let that turn into an extended hiatus, because that's apparently my habit at this point. And clearly, when I start a series, I kind of need to have some idea of where it's going to go and whether or not my computer will actually be able to run most, if not the whole game. So, as you may have seen as we went past, I didn't really mention, but there are a couple of series that we've sort of just left hanging in the abyss. And to be honest, several of them I'm really not planning on going back to. To address a few of the more specific ones, I think that Dragon Age Origins I will try to go back to at some point. At the time, I was playing it via Origin Access, their baseline subscriptions, or EA's baseline subscription service, which I am not currently subscribed to, which means that I couldn't do it through that right now. Now, I no longer need to, because EA made a partnership with Steam that allows a lot of EA's games to be available through Steam, and they did a sale where I purchased Dragon Age Origins. So now I actually own a copy, rather than having to access it through a subscription. So at some point in the future, I probably will go back to it, but I'm not in a real hurry, because there's, a couple other series that I've currently got juggling sort of in the air that are definitely waiting to come back and just have not yet because of various arbitrary goalposts not being reached yet. Sorry. But besides Reckoning as well, there's also the issue of Kingdoms and Castles that has really kind of dominated the history of the channel. I do still absolutely plan on playing it again, and as I said the last 2 times that we ended, the plan has this whole time been to come back when they do their next update, which clearly 2020 has thrown some wrenches into. So, I'm sort of considering whether or not it would really be worth it to do another mini short series of just learning more of the game mechanics before that next update comes in. But considering all the other things that I have available, again, I don't really need to. So, that's probably something that I will just be waiting on the next update for. As for Dungeons, Dungeons 3, that the hardware was the issue at the time, and the hardware has not changed. So, maybe at some point in the mysterious future, when I finally upgrade any parts of my computer, maybe. But even then, possibly not, because I've got some other games that are in fairly similar veins that I'm a lot more affluent for. So we've got some more. Why am I forgetting the genre of that game? Not FPS. RTS. There we are. We've got some other RTS games in our future, don't you worry, that will probably just take the place, because, as I mentioned while I was playing it, while it is a very fun game, it's clearly riffing on a lot of much more well-known RTSs. And so we'll probably just actually be playing those, because once again, I've been buying things on sale. But other than that, as for going forward, clearly I still plan on trying to keep up this one episode every other day. As I mentioned, there was that one brief window where I actually did 2 a day, and while I could hypothetically do that right now, I don't really want to. So whether or not I would in the future potentially get to that level of uploading, I'm thinking probably not. I feel like that would probably be overloading definitely the sub box, considering the way the algorithm works, but also probably just overloading you, the viewers, because, like I said, with the way that it is right now, if you do like both of the series, you're getting a video every day. And if you only like one of them, you are only getting half, but you are still getting a pretty good amount without it being too much. And I feel like, especially anyone who would like both series that I was doing, 2 a day might be a bit much. Especially because at that point, then I would really need to make sure that I don't end up in a situation like I am now, where both series are basically 20-minute series. If I was ever to go to that, I would need to make sure that one of those two was always far closer to a 10-15 minute upload, because wow, it's not even the recording at this point. It's almost not even the editing, it's mostly the rendering. Just getting my software to render a 20-minute episode takes a little over an hour. So, and that's an entire hour where I can't be doing anything else with the computer. So I can't be working on other videos, I can't be doing other stuff I want with the computer. So yeah, render time is currently kind of being that ceiling that I'm hitting, which, again, yeah, hypothetically that would, well, no, not even hypothetically, just assuredly, if and when I do eventually upgrade my hardware, then that time frame would start to be a little less problematic. But what I'm really feeling I want to go in the route of is sort of moving the channel away from being what it is right now, which is pretty much just a Let's Play channel, and I would like to move it more towards having the Let's Plays be supplemental to what I plan to have in the future be sort of my more main focus videos, which I have some sort of general ideas about how I'd want them to be. For instance, much higher quality, more video performance style ones, not unlike those Let's Ask series ones, but not lore. Not lore specifically, anyway. So, the closer I get to getting a better grasp on what kind of video that will end up being, I will give more information. But for now, I feel that's probably about all I can really give you, because that's about all that's really concrete. Well, that about wraps things up for this special edition of the Weekly Recap. Once again, I want to thank you all for watching not only this video, but our videos in general here on the channel. I look forward to where we'll be able to take the channel in the next year, as well as generically into the future. And until next time, thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time. Yo, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like and leave a comment. Subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want YouTube to let you know when more uploads arrive. I've put links in the description for if you want to follow the channel's Twitter or Facebook, as well as a link to the channel's Patreon if you'd like to support the channel. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.